So here I am between the weekends. This last weekend, I did my first Whitby Gothic Gathering market. It's an annual gathering of goths in Whitby, the home of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it served kind of as the launch for the process of trying to pimp the book at at, at markets where hopefully I'll find people that like the cut of my jib. We're going back next weekend, this coming weekend, to do a second goth weekend and finish this dual weekend process of trying to sell some books. But I just wanted to share possibly one of the most fun stories that I've developed over the last couple of weeks of getting out there and selling my wares. As a kid, a young teenager, I've always been a reader. I've always loved reading. One of my early memories as a kid in the north of England was how I would take the curtain behind my bed and I would jam it between the wall and the radiator so that I got a triangle of light in which I could illicitly read my books way beyond the time when I was supposed to be asleep. Reading has just been fundamental to me. There's barely a day goes by that I don't read at least some pages of one or other of the books that I have on the go. So on Saturday this weekend, I'm at my stall and I'm cajoling people, grabbing them, putting them in a chokehold and convincing them to buy my words. And this gent walks up and I offer him one of my complimentary, I've got one here, where is it? One of my complimentary bookmarks. I say, if there's a free bookmark there, sir, please take it. And he says to me, I can read, but I don't read. And I could have just let it go at that moment, but I will confess there was part of my soul that kind of rebelled against that. I took offense. I took it as a challenge. And so I started to talk to this gent, and it helped, in truth, that he had a fairly broad Nottingham accent that I recognised, and I was born in Nottingham, so there was a point of sort of connection between us. But I basically ended up saying to this gent, I said, you know what? It's not that I want you to read my book. It's I want you to read, and I want you to, and I want to challenge you to do that. So I'm going to dare you. I'm going to dare you to buy my book, and I'm going to guarantee you that if you don't find one story in my book that you think is worth the 10 quid the book costs you, I'll give you your money back. And he laughed and said, well, you're not going to be here. I said, no, but look at the bookmark. Website's on the back. You can contact me, send me an email, tell me that I failed, that there was nothing in there of value to you, and I will send you your money back. And he laughed and he walked away. And about 10 minutes later, he appeared back at the store with 10 quid in his hand, and he bought the book. And he got me to sign the book. And I signed it to Steve, and I said, money back guaranteed. And I said to him, my greatest hope is that not only does he read some or all of my book and find something of value in there, but that reading my book convinces him to go out and buy another one and another one after that. Because I think there's great joy in fiction. And more important than that, I know that fiction teaches empathy. If you put yourself in the mind of a rock star or a sea captain or a little girl in the south of America or a unit invading hell or any one of the stories in my book, you can't do that without empathy. And if this world needs anything right now, it's not sympathy, it's empathy for our fellow man. And I know that I've got a degree of that from a lifetime of pulling the curtain back and reading in the little orange triangle. And I hope maybe Steve gets a little bit of it too, as he sits somewhere in Nottingham and reads a book that he was basically dared into buying with a money-back guarantee. It was almost singularly the greatest moment of the weekend. There was another, but I might share that at some point. But I just wanted to tell you about Steve and his money-back guarantee, and tell you that in a world where our big splashes, as Neil Peart said, are just ripples in the pool, this tiny little ripple felt like a big splash and sort of made it feel worth it. Anyway, that's the story from the Gothic Gathering in Whitby at the end of April in 2026. Maybe there'll be another story to come out of the coming weekend. And if there is, you'll be among the first to know. Thanks for listening.